Well, as early as I can remember, I was about 8 years old. But I didn't really get serious about it until like 1968, 69,
Okay.
uh, maybe even 70. A guy named Billy Allen, he played guitar for everybody. Billy Ocean. Not at that time. He was like a 12, 13-year-old kid back then. But man, he could play. And, I wanted to play too. So he had this white, what kind of guitar was that? I forgot the name of it, but it kind of looked like a Stratocaster,
Okay.
you know. And I'd always try to play it. And he said, "Man, put that down. You never play." So I begged my parents to give me a guitar, and they got me this acoustic guitar. I didn't, I wasn't feeling it. I wanted to play bass, you know. I remember Jermaine Jackson of the Jackson Five. You know, he had a big afro.
Yeah.
I had a big afro back then, and he looked so cool playing. I said, "Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be like him." You know, because I mean, back then the Jackson Five was,
Yeah, they were it.
yeah, band. So I ended up being a bass player.
So you would say about a good 50 years you've been actively.
Damn, you make me sound old, woman.
No, that's just experience. That's seasoned right there. That's knowledge.
Yeah, it's been around that long. I would tell my early self, be prepared for anything. Chance favors the prepared mind.
Mm.
I don't know. I think COVID was a wake up call for a lot of us. I mean, I hate the fact that a lot of people died from it. That's a definite con. But you know, you learn to adapt and you know, yeah, adaptation would be a pro. You know, I'm a Nichiren Buddhist, and uh, we're very philosophical people. Now, there's a philosophical saying that Bruce Lee once said, and he said to be like water. And I use that in my daily life every day. Um, the saying goes, be like water. You can put water into a glass, it becomes the glass. You can put water into a teacup, it becomes a teacup. Water can flow or it can crash. Be like water.
I've been in my craft for about like 7 years on a serious note, yeah. And a big thing for me was that it felt like a huge pause in life. Everything was kind of at a standstill. And I had to redefine a lot of things for myself in order to figure out where I was or where I was going, such as productivity. I was really heavy because normal work wasn't a thing. And it was kind of like, what am I doing on a day to day basis, especially in a society where, time is money.
Yeah.
What does that productivity really look like? Am I doing something that is really worth my time in society standards? And I had to look at that from a perspective of, well, what is productive in a sense of how healthy I'm feeling, how sane I'm feeling, you know, and health as in mental, physical, spiritual, all of that. So just my well-being really had to be centered in that time, and I had to really start to think from that perspective in order to be able to push past it. But I was going through a lot of just kind of finding myself all over again in that change. I had to sit still a lot and be okay with not doing anything, being okay with not having a lot of people around or even communicating with a lot of people. Also, I had to redefine what my routine looked like to keep myself in a good mental space. And that came from going into this spiritual coach I started working with, and she really got me on track of centering myself. So really getting down with my meditation, really sitting down and praying more, eating a lot more healthy, getting outside and being in the sunlight, taking walks. And also I had to lean back to writing for a different reason. I realized that I had been using writing in a lot of ways for survival, to make it or get to a certain point. And now that like society was at a standstill, I had to look at poetry as more so something that was pure expression, to process everything that I was going through, or else it just was like, I don't know, I felt like I kept meeting a dead end because I was writing to get to a certain place, but that wasn't a thing anymore. So now I had to write for myself. And other than that, I think I'm still going through trying to develop my routine and keep those habits going, because I noticed that when I fall off of that routine, it leaves me a lot more vulnerable to those self-defeating thoughts, negative thinking and things like that. And also just keeping my community around a lot more. I really started to desire a lot more intimacy, because once the people, social distancing started to happen, there was less and less people that you really started to be able to associate with. So that showed me what my circle really looked like, and amongst those people I had to start opening up more and having conversations that were a lot more personal and a lot more real, in order to achieve that type of intimacy. And that made me feel a lot more loved, than to look at things in a broader perspective of, I'm just out here connecting with people. It's kind of like society before was, I mean, it still is, but in this space where you kind of just perform, to get by. And people ask you how you doing, you just say good without thinking about it, And now I can't move forward like that anymore. I can't just speak as if nothing matters. Everything that I talk about with my friends and family and loved ones comes from a very real place, and it's about the healing more so first and foremost than anything else. To slow down, for real. That's the main thing. I was just later in 2020 helped me realize how much I was moving and how inefficient it was. And so it's like slow down, feel a lot more, and do things that you really are sure in your spirit that you want to do, and not doing them out of a mindset of survival and trying to make it. Because when everything falls, all you got is yourself. All you have is your own gifts and your community. There really is no work. There is no time in the way that they measure it. So it's kind of like slow down and take it at your own pace, and don't feel rushed by anything or anybody else. It definitely did change me for the better. I have nothing but love for 2020. As much as it was, I definitely appreciate everything that it brought. I'm grateful for it all. I don't think I have a lot of cons. I mean, the cons were things that I realized about myself that needed healing, that needed to be changed or shifted. But the pros were, everything that came from it, the realizations that I had, even any relationships that grew or didn't grow because of it, the changes that I had to make